Hello, Hello, Tenno. Welcome to another video. Today I'm gonna talk about the two new weapons we got in Old Piece: Sagek Prime and Galleriaak Prime, the orokin era grineer Prime weapons you can get from the Perita Rebellion. First of all, I'm gonna talk about Sagek Prime. This was the secondary that was used by the orokin era grineer. Apparently, it has 30% critical chance, 1% status chance. It comes with a V polarity and a dash polarity when you unlock it. And this weapon has a pretty unique gimmick. And the gimmick is, after inflicting a critical hit, the next shot has a 6% chance, adding 5 status effects. Now, what does that mean? That means when you crit with this weapon, whatever status you built on it, like mine is viral electricity and it has slash, it will proc 5 of these in total. Like, let me give you an example. I have like viral electricity here. If I crit to an enemy, it will proc maybe 2 viral and 2 electricity, or uh, 4 viral, 1 electricity, or just 2 electricity, 2 slash, and 1 viral. As you can see here, I procced 2 viral, 2 electricity, 1 puncture, and before that it was, I believe, 4 viral, 1 electricity. Now I'm using secondary error rate on this build, but to show that I wouldn't suggest using it, because yes, I am shooting at heavy gunners and they're more they're like tankier than your regular enemy, but abusing secondary error rate doesn't work with this weapon. I have 3 damage elemental mods, but it still doesn't enough damage. So, in my opinion, if you like headshotting a lot, you should use secondary deadhead. Or if you don't want to stress yourself over headshots, you can just use secondary merciless and other different damaging arcanes. My build is pretty simple. It has your little torrent, galvanized shot, galvanized diffusion, a prime target cracker. Just the average stuff you will see in a pistol. When it comes to other arcanes that I was giving an example of, let's say you might want to build this for just heat procs, then you can go Cascadia Flare. If you have 3 different statuses, you can do like me and go Cascadia Empowered. Or you want to go Hornet Strike with this, with the elemental mods, you can use Cascadia Overcharge, which basically gives you critical chance based on your overshields, which can work with some Warframes. Or you can be quirky, put some cold on it, and you can go secondary shiver. But like I said, I think the best option with this weapon is secondary deadhead. So let's swap to deadhead and get to the... And headshotting is easy. Like if you're struggling, don't replicate my build. Like remove electricity if you're gonna replicate it. If it's hard to headshot, you can just try something else. Or like I said, you can use merciless. But as I'm saying, like when you get those deadheads or merciless stacks, this weapon starts to shred. And remember this is like a secondary weapon, so don't expect to be act like a a primary, like a turret or a person. But of course there are other secondaries that can dish out of a lot of damage. But yeah, as you can see, Deadhead does a better job at it. Also, another thing I noticed, this weapon runs out of bullets really fast. Like, I mean, your ammo economy will be good because, if your companion has either fetch or vacuum, you will have bullets all the time. But yeah, it can run out real fast. Also, another thing you can do is, just gonna do this for one time. You might want to get rid of the multi-shot and go primary acuity if you want to do damage different way, but like this is optional. I don't think this weapon necessarily needs acuity, because acuity is yet another mod that just forces you to go headshot. I mean, yes, you will see red crits, the damage will be even more increased, but like then you're just gonna be focusing that headshots all game all long. Like, so primary secondary acuity is an option. I personally don't use it, but like it's all up to you. Like, knock yourself out. You know what I mean? But yeah, with damage mods, with damage arcanes, like Acuity or Hornet Strike or Deadhead or Merciless, this weapon shreds. Do not use enervate. Do not fall into the enervate propaganda. And let's say you unlock this weapon early on. Since new players can skip the Perita Rebellion, that means you have a chance to unlock this weapon early. So your build is gonna be a Hornet Strike, but of course, like these are max rank, so they don't have to max rank in early game. If you can get Cripping Bullseye from Corrupted Walls, get it. Those are Deimos mission vaults you can fight around. They're usually hidden. You need the Dragon Keys. You can get those from your dojo Orokin lab, and then just try to find these. Then you will go like Gunslinger, Pistol Gambit, your regular Target Cracker. If you get Lethal Torrent somehow, that would be also nice. Then, of course, you will need Pathogen rounds, a Deep Freeze for the viral, and the regular Convulsion, which you can get really, really easy. If you can get Lethal Torrent early on, you should as well, because Lethal Torrent is good early to mid game multi-shot mod, and it will stay as a staple mod for all of your secondaries. Probably, yeah, most of the secondaries. So this is basically, yeah, this is what we this is how we're looking at the like a early game build here. Like this is how your early game build for Sagek Prime gonna look like. Alright, now we're in a live game. This is survival mission mod for Stillpat. And let's see how it does against regular enemies with also a companion, which is Nautilus Prime. This Nautilus Prime's weapon is built for, I believe, viral heat, because it has its own craziness I can do. As you can see, my Nautilus kind of nukes. I might share that build if you guys are interested. Make sure to let me know in comments. So yeah, in a regular match, when you're against like regular enemies, you will have an easier time. Like it's not like there will be heavy gunners all the time, so this weapon will shred. It's a good option for a secondary weapon, so I will suggest using this. I mean, yes, will there be weapons that can outclass this? Obviously, there's Dual Toxicist Incarnon, there's Sester Incarnon, Okikor, Atomos Incarnon. There's like, I believe there's one more incarnate. There's like Lex Incarnon, Sicarus Incarnon. Like most of the secondary Incarnons obviously gonna outclass it. Okikor in itself is a weapon that might outclass it, or they might be equals. I didn't fully try Okikor, but I still think this weapon has great potential to be a nice sidearm next to a primary. It's a fun weapon. I like the gimmick. It doesn't feel that's clunky at times like Gotwa does, because Gotwa feels more of a chance to see those red crits unless you're using certain Warframes with it. So I find it quite fun. And let's move on to Galariak Prime. So Galariak Prime is an entirely different story. This thing is kind of insane. So let me unequip my Sentinel. So Galariak Prime. Let's open it. It has 19% critical chance, 22%, 32% status chance, 2.5 critical damage multiplier, and its unique trait is gain 10% final critical chance for each unique status effect on the enemy. Now that's low-key crazy, because that's like having a blood rush based on status, and this weapon comes with 2 V polarities, which is quite handy. So the build is gonna be kind of obvious. It's your average influence build. Now I know there are other ways to build this, with probably melee duplicate, or not using sacrificial steel, or not using blood rush. There are alternative ways to build this, and I understand it. I just want to give it like some crit chance already, and then so I can build upon it. And that was the main plan with it. The reason I'm going condition overload, because my companion is gonna prime the enemy anyways, so I will have a really easy time. And by priming companions, I mean some things like this Hound, which has synergized Prospectus, which I believe, yeah, it fires an electrical spark that bounces around enemies. Then you're gonna use Contagious Bond and Manifold Bond, I believe, because this electricity will bounce, it will already electricity proc enemies. And with Manifold Bond, when status effect from companion weapons, killing enemies with 3 or more unique status effects. When your companion kills an enemy afflicted with status effect, 50% of the status effects breaks to other enemies. So like I said, when my companion kills someone, which it will, obviously, it will spread status around. And this will feed the Galariak Prime. Or you can use a Durga with a Verglass Prime, because Durga also has Arc Coil, which basically sentient zaps up to 7 enemies with 10 meter, dealing 100 electricity damage with 10% status, if I remember correctly. Or in my case, you're gonna use a Verglass Primed Nautilus Prime and use the exact same mods, which are like Manifold Bond, Contagious Bond, which lets you, which since the Verglass Prime has high damage, Nautilus Prime will kill an enemy with viral heat, and it will spread to all of the enemies around. Or you can go like different elements as well for the weapon if you want to prime them even better. I'm just going viral heat because it for some reason it just makes Nautilus blow up enemies. I don't use Cordon personally because it can sometimes disrupt my combos. But I know like I'm wrong for this, but like you can do whatever with your Nautilus. So here I have my Hound. It's gonna shoot that electricity ball, which will spread around enemies. It will prime them with like bunch of corrosive radiation, electricity, and then I'm gonna pull out the Galariak Prime. I'm already seeing oranges and yellows, and for Tennokai I'm using Dream's Red because it lets Tennokai attacks have even more critical chance and damage. And basically, even like the moment I speak, like everything is already dying. Like, not only this weapon is already great because it's a sight, and sight weapons are usually strong, the gimmick of this weapon just makes it really fun. It's like a different execution of Harmony, where with Harmony, every damage over time effect will be like a nuclear weapon. This one is just, if you have status on the enemy, it will deal a lot of damage. Now, there's another way to do this. If you don't want to use like priming companions, just bring out Voruna, because Voruna has an augment which is Prey of Dinar. When you go invisible, an enemy gets marked. When you bite them and spread those 10 statuses, and when that enemy dies, the regular spread area, the range, increases by 150%, which is crazy. That's game like 40 meters, 50 meters. And when you combine that with Galariak Prime, the weapon just goes nuclear. Like it just kills everything, and they don't even know. Like the enemy doesn't even notice it got just nuked. Like right here, it's spread. Now I'm just using Galariak Prime, and like yeah, like the entire entire Simulacrum just turned into dust, just icicle dummies. It just this weapon is really crazy with Voruna. By the way, my Voruna uses a shield gating build. I know this Warframe is more like a health tanker, but I'm thinking of a build with arcane persistence on her, but I'm gonna think about it later on that. Like I'm just thinking if it's worth it or not. So let's test this on a live gameplay. I go invisible. I'm going invisible. I bite an enemy. It spreads, and like with Voruna, it might be doing too much because you just like you bite an enemy, it spreads to all the enemies, and like the enemies can die from the statuses as well. It's just so crazy, just how much damage it can deal. Just bite, heavy attack. It just like it deletes enemies. Like it's a really crazy weapon, man. I really like Galariak Prime. So, what do I think about these two weapons? In my personal opinion, Sagek Prime is a solid pistol. It is there's not much of a meta in this game, but yeah, it is not. It's not meta defining, but it has its own place as a really good solid sidearm you can use next to other primaries and melees. Like it's good. Sagek Prime is good. It is not trash. It's very solid. I like it. Galeriac Prime is probably one of the most insane melee weapons I've ever seen. And like I just love this. It's like since Harmony, since Hate Incarnate, this is probably gonna be one of my go-to sites now. Like, I'm genuinely enjoying it. Alright, while editing, I kind of noticed I didn't make a starter build for Galariak Prime. So this is probably how your new to mid game player build's gonna look like for Galariak Prime. Just your average mods, you know. If you can get a sight stance mod early on, that's good for you. The stance mod that fits to this weapon is Stalking Fan only because of those two dashes. If you can get a stance forma, use it on this weapon. If you want it to use other stances without getting negative mods capacity. Your regular early to mid game build can be like Pressure Point, Organ Shatter, Fever Strike. You can get Blood Rush from Deimos bounties, Furry, Northwind, and True Steel. If you can get Berserker Fury early on, that's also nice. I forgot how you get Berserker Fury. I might add it to comments if I remember it. And that's about it. These two weapons are awesome, and they're fun addition to Warframe. I'm enjoying them very much, and I can't wait to use them in the Operation event a lot as well. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. And in the next video, I might give some other tips and tricks stuff, but I'm gonna see what I'm gonna do. See you, Tenno, later.